Good morning, Blue Lulus. How you doing? Do you think that Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins are heroic in this moment? Because I'm having a hard time getting there for them. Because it does seem like Thom Tillis is having like a dark night of the soul awakening moment where he suddenly is like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to stand by, and here's why. Whereas Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins have known all along. This isn't just like this current administration thing. They are always the people when there's a horrible piece of legislation on the table that we're like, oh, well, let's see what Murkowski and Collins have to say about it. Maybe they'll come out and save us. And like 90% of the time, they don't. And that's because they know. They fully understand the harm and the terror and the horror that everything that is going on within the Republican Party bestows on people right now is, and they do it anyways. Like every time I see Lisa Murkowski being interviewed with her like sweet little tiny voice, and she's like, oh, I'm not a bad person. I promise I want to be better. I want to do the right thing. It's appealing, right? You're like, oh, okay, well, she's one of the good ones. Maybe it's going to be all right. And then she turns around and does it anyways. She voted for this bill to continue forward because they cut out a little chunk for Alaska. She's like, it's okay if everybody else goes hungry and loses their hospitals as long as it doesn't happen to me. And then, of course, zoink, they rip the rug out from under her and she's like, oh my gosh, I've been tricked. No, you were selfish. And that came back to bite you in the butt. She's not brainwashed. She's not mean. I don't even think that she's under the illusion that harm isn't going to happen. She's conflict avoidant. And that's why she continues to go out and say these things and then not do it anyways. I despise conflict avoidance. Sometimes you do have to be the hard person and do the hard thing. So maybe you should go ahead and join Team Blue because you'd fit right in over there. But the fact is that if this bill passes, it will be devastating. 40% of children in our country are on Medicaid. 40% of all pregnancies are funded by Medicaid. 40% of all births are funded by Medicaid. And that means without those things, those hospitals will close. Maternity wards and emergency rooms will close immediately. And especially in areas where you don't have any other options, there will be people who will absolutely suffer whether they're on Medicaid or not. If you have private insurance and you don't live anywhere near another hospital and that hospital closes, this affects you too. It is not just the people on Medicaid. And for what? For absolutely what? It doesn't decrease the deficit. It doesn't improve infrastructure. We'll be taking money, food, and healthcare away from the most vulnerable in our population just to give a tax cut to billionaires and add $5 trillion to our deficit. And the thing that these billionaires forget is that in the event that you actually gave that money to the people who woefully need it, the lower income and middle income people of America, you would get it anyways. Because when lower income and middle income people have disposable income, they spend it. They go to big box stores. They buy their kids clothes and bikes and toys and things. They get their grass done. They change their roof. They go to the dermatologist. They spend their money in a way that's actually productive because every dollar that is spent out in the marketplace is taxed. Those tax dollars go on to fund our hospitals, our roads, our first responders. That money is not only spent, it is working. It is like the blood of our society, where the inverse is not true. When you just give tax cuts to billionaires, they don't change the way that they move around at all because they already have everything that they need. They don't have a wish list on Amazon. They just buy whatever the heck it is that they want to buy all the time, and they've already bought it all. There's no lack that we are filling other than some arbitrary benchmark that they have in their brain about how rich they think that they need to be. They don't spend it. It gets stuck in an account, and that account just accrues more interest, and the only accomplishment is that they're adding another rung to their belt. That's it. That's not a Republican thing. That's not a Democratic thing. That's just the truth. That is math. Not liberal math, just real math. The bottom of this is going to fall out. For what? Because when lower and middle income people don't have money, they don't spend it. Those big box stores will close. Those luxury things will close. People are not traveling. They're not getting on airplanes. They're not spending money. They're not going out to eat. And that will have a negative effect on your portfolio too, billionaires. So your impatience is leading to our collective demise. And yeah, there's nothing heroic about that. There's nothing with spending the time pondering about whether or not financial apocalypse would work. Maybe, but he really needs a win. Because that's what it's really for, right? You're just trying to keep the ketchup off the wall. The Joker cannot verbalize what's in this bill. He has no idea. He doesn't understand basic economics. If you gave him a quiz right now with 20 of the most obvious economic questions, he would fail it. But he wants a win real bad. And he also wants you to check out his new fragrances that he wants to sell people for $250 a bottle. Yeah, there's nothing heroic about that. Dark Batman's trying to be a hero, though, because he's coming out really hard against this bill. He's calling the Republicans the Porky Pig Party right now. Okay. He's threatening to primary every single person who votes for this. And he's also talking about starting his own political party. And in response, the Joker's threatening to cut all of his subsidies, have him denaturalized and deported. Who do we root for in this instance? I have no idea. But no matter what happens today, you guys, keep your heads up, okay? I don't know how any of this is going to get better. I know the one thing that I feel like I can do is continue to reach out to my senators, reach out to your governors, especially if you are in blue states. Show them the information from Echo Tango Alpha and SMART. Go sign that petition and keep going. Read the information because it makes a difference whether or not we are doing this to ourselves. And I firmly believe that we're not. Have the best day available to you. Keep your eyes up, keep your feet on the ground. I'll see you next time. Ta-ta.